Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandy Glaze. I'm a personal transformation and self-development coach. And what I want to talk to you today, my theme for this year, Standing in Your Magnificence, I'd like to talk about empowering others. So I want to share a few ideas of how I think we got to where we are and offer some remedies and help us get through that. So my first question would be, why are we needed at this time? And like many people think, we're awakening to a higher knowing, a higher level of consciousness. And we're starting to question everything around us, what is true and what is not. And that is what we're waking up to, I think, for in terms of enlightenment. That's why we're here to wake up. The human is magnificently created organic technology with powers beyond what we thought. And what I'm noticing with a lot of people I'm working with, they're becoming more astute. They're starting to realize more things, which means their consciousness is waking up. And we're waking up and we're realizing we have more intuition than we thought. Extrasensory perceptions are coming on. The ability to use our consciousness to set an intention is becoming really prevalent. So a lot of people are starting to see all this. And this is why it's so important that we do have an understanding of who we are, why we're here, why we're needed. We can stop doubting ourselves. Is it really that difficult to think that we are magnificent? And this leads to low self-esteem issues if people don't realize how magnificent we are. We can understand how powerful we are, but we can do it without ego. We can just understand it's what it is and work on honing that. So my research led me to explore why we're led so astray, so we can correct the wrong information and replace it with the right information. As the saying goes, he who controls the mind controls the soul. So a lot of that is part of what we're going through with this spiritual war. There's a control for the mind so that they can control the soul. So that was a plan to disconnect us from our souls, but that's okay. We're waking up, we're seeing things for what they are. So this deceptive attempt to minimize the Western society started at an early age for all of us. And, I've been gathering information as I've been researching this, and I just want to give a brief history. So I don't want to focus on what went wrong. We know a lot about what went wrong. But so what I would like to start with is at a very early age, we were conditioned to do a negative inverted downward spiral. And maybe some of you have heard of the term nursery rhyme crimes. So when we think of those nursery rhymes that we were taught, and the two that come to mind for me is Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down, broke his crown, his spiritual connection. Jill came tumbling after. So falling down, always about falling down. And the other one is ring around the posy, husha, husha. We all fall down. So we were led at a very early age to drop ourselves. And I don't even know when these nursery rhymes were created. I don't have no idea how many decades that's been going on for. And then we had Disney and the fairy tales to use explicit messaging to mold our consciousness and keep children fearful. And the ones that are coming to mind for me are Hansel and Gretel. That was a pretty scary one. Another one, Snow White. And even the Lion King. I think the Lion King lost his father, I think is how that went in that one, that series or that Disney movie. But when we start to look at what's happening, everything is designed to keep us in that low frequency, keep us fearful or not believing in ourselves or inverting ourselves. And that's what I think we need to start looking at, changing that. And then we went on to the holiday lies. So that Santa Claus was real and the Easter Bunny. And I know a lot of kids they felt a lot of betrayal when they would ask. It didn't matter who they asked. If they asked their mom and dad, their grandparents, family, it didn't matter if it was education, whoever they asked if it was real, and they got told, of course it was. And when they later found out they were lied to, that led to betrayal, which is one of the emotions that affects the heart. So they even came up with the tooth fairy to keep people emotionally stunted and like very infantile. So that they've really been at this for a while. So and then for the last one I wanted to talk about was the Toronto Protocol in 1967. They came up with the nefarious agenda to keep everybody focused on sex, drugs, rock and roll, sports, and senseless entertainment. And that was basically what we were striving for, just the things that were just, some of them could be considered luxury items, but they became the essence of who we are. So a lot of this programming that we've had has been set up intentionally, and we aren't even looking at it here. We're looking at the education system, and we're looking at some of the different functions, but we're not looking at how our consciousness has been steered from a very early age, right? I am very grateful for the people who are waking up right now, and they're seeing through the manipulation, and they're on a mission to find truth. They're looking for the ways to right themselves energetically, emotionally, psychically, and spiritually. So they're looking for the right answer. So I'm very grateful that so many people are waking up, right? And there is good news. The good news is we have the intestinal fortitude, we have our wits about us, we have our heart. We're starting to see how we were reverse engineered so that we can undo ourselves and stand back in our power, right? So what are some of the ways that you can empower yourselves? These are just some things that I've found over time that help. A lot of this is about setting the intention. Set your intention to be the highest version of yourself. That's really important because if you're aiming for the bottom, that's what you're going to hit. But if you're aiming for the highest version of yourself, you have a better chance of succeeding and flipping the energy. Reestablish your emotional foundation, your values, and your morality, because that's what the Toronto Protocol was trying to take away from you, that you're supposed to be valuing senseless, some of it material items or events that didn't matter. If it's a sports game that was rigged, it didn't matter. The movies are pre-scripted and the programming, it didn't matter, right? That was all designed to get you to go against yourself. So this is what we're trying to do. So within that, reestablishing your values and your morality, it allows you to create your own code of honor. Redefine who you are, what you stand for, and walk your talk. So it's not always easy to do, especially if you're around people and maybe you're the first one waking up in your group. But then look for people who are already doing it and see if you can find other groups that you can share this with until you get stronger inside, right? Redefine what mutual respect means for you: integrity, walking with your moral compass intact, healthy boundaries, knowing right from wrong, and acting accordingly. So ask yourself what all those things mean for you. And it's okay to start your own journal and start writing some of these things down, because it's going to be a little different for everybody. And I know last time I talked about this one: pride yourself for what you stand for, who you are, what you believe in, what your values are. That's really important, that you feel good about yourself. Make it a practice to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And we've been really led astray from that one too. You know, people often just follow the money and that's what they're looking for that gain, but not if it takes you out of integrity with yourself, right? And this was a big one for me too. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt, because some people, their goal is just to manipulate, to keep the nefarious agenda going. So just make yourself a promise that you're going to start spotting people who are trying to dupe you. And I've been duped more times than anybody I know, and it doesn't matter. What the process is you start to see how you're being duped and what games they're playing, because a lot of the nefarious games are all the same, which I'm not going to go into that today. Don't gossip or put others down, because we're starting to realize that triangulation of going behind somebody's back, that reflects on the person doing the gossiping. And what people are starting to realize is that person doesn't have the strength to pull themselves up. So it's easier for them to knock somebody down so they don't have to change their modus operandus or how they operate with people. So that's a really good one to watch for. Ask God, creator, source, whatever you call it, how you may be of service. Ask that higher consciousness, how may I help? What can I do to make the world better? A lot of people are going through this right now, but they don't have the download yet. They haven't got the message of how they can help, but they're starting to ask the question, which is perfect. We need that too, right? Know the light of our God resonates from a spectrum of frequency. It's not just one frequency. And that's why it's so important that we feel all of our emotions. We feel that whole range. I was with a group of people last night, and one of the women said that we're clearing energy, and I was showing them how to read their energy fields. And she said on the weekend, last weekend, she was just out of sorts emotionally and she could not sort it out. And I started explaining how the solar flares are coming in. And I'm not bursting up on that to carry a conversation, but the solar flares are coming in and different energies are affecting the earth, and the Schumann resonance is changing. And she asked herself, was that her energy then? And she got a no. And it was, you could just see her eyes light up, like the light bulb went on, that she realized that she was out of sorts. So that's what we were doing yesterday, was just looking at ways that people can read their own energy field. So it's important to know that, but then it's okay to say, this isn't mine too, right? So how do you adjust your consciousness when you're trying to go in and do this deeper work? Imagine you're one with all that is. Feel it in your thymus. And the thymus is that little mound on your upper chest there. It's just lightly raised or slightly raised. Donna Eden does an energy clearing where she taps the thymus, and that helps bring up your immune system as well, according to her. So she's an energy coach and or an energy worker in the United States. She has a lot of really good work that she does. But that's what you want to do. Imagine you're one with all that is, and connect it through your thymus, which my understanding was the original third eye, your higher heart, and let it resonate within your heart. So you want to radiate out as love as you're trying to connect with all that is. Go inside and get quiet. And this is hard to do when we've got so much distraction at our fingertips, whether it's whatever, internet, whatever it is, right? But go inside and try to stay in that state as long as you can, that you are connected with one. And it doesn't matter if you do it for a minute or you do it for 10 minutes the first time. The idea is that you start to practice over time and you get really good at it. So start talking to yourself. Say to your innate, I'm ready for this, something different or something better. Start saying, talking to yourself and speaking to your consciousness of what you want to have happen. Another thing you can say is, dear God, I'm here to match my light to yours, and set the intention for that to happen if you want to get into that Christed consciousness. When our light is strong enough, there is no, the darkness can't find us. So it's just going to put them, it's just going to get them running away. But we've got to be able to feel that energy and come from our heart energy. And that's where the true love is. And I think just the way we've been conditioned, a lot of people are trying to access the feeling of love through their left brain function, and it's not there. You're not going to find it. No, we have the wisdom and the power and the truth within us. Ask to be shown what's true. And I know I've said this before, but some people get overwhelmed with that. So ask to be shown what's true in a way you can handle it. And it's really important, because I asked to be shown truth and I just got truth bombed. Like everywhere I looked, I was getting it, and it became very overwhelming. So I changed it to a way I can handle it. Know in your heart that we have what it takes to create a better civilization. So this is really important, to keep all these things in mind. And above all else too, is know that you're worthy. We're all deserving of good things. And a lot of this still comes down to the self-esteem, or putting everybody ahead of yourself. That came up within everybody I spoke with last night. They all, well, almost everybody, but they were always putting other people and their needs ahead of their own. And it's okay to be considerate of others as long as you're in the group. You've got to be included in that. So I hope this video empowers you to go within and gives you some ideas how to connect with yourself, your higher self, your one self, your God self, source. Some people use the angels and different techniques, spirit guides. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're going in and you're starting to pick up on that you're here to do amazing things. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and share it with others who are looking to empower themselves and connect to themselves. And the incredible energies are happening right now, right? As long as we're reading it. But this is how we make the changes I think that we need to do. We go in and turn on our organic technology. So I hope you like this video, and we'll see you next time.